I want to introduce the members of this delegation. My name is Caleb Amisi, a member of parliament representing Saboti constituency on ODM party and deputy organizing secretary of ODM party. Here we have member for Lugari, Honorable Nabin Nabwera, and the county secretary of ODM, Kakamega County. And we have a professor here, Wilberforce Oundo, representing Busia from the Funyula constituency. We have Mugabe from Likuyani constituency. They will have a moment to speak, but I want first of all to read the statement.
Divide and rule was the best way for the control Africans.
For this presser, and we'll open up for questions. So we have met here this morning as elected MPs, among the ones who have before us. In addition, we have Honorable Kibangendi, who is supposed to be here, Honorable Sothi, who is supposed to be here, Honorable Edwin Sifuna is supposed to be here, and they are a part of this statement they have all signed. And we have met here as elected MPs and members in good standing of the Orange Democratic Movement party to set the record straight with regard to recent happenings within the party. We wish to make clear that many of us, if not all of us here, were present during both the ODM and the Azimio parliamentary group held on the 12th of July at the Jaramogi Foundation in Nairobi. At no time during the said meetings was it resolved that either the party or the coalition will be joining a coalition with William Ruto's KK party. It therefore came as a shock when senior members of ODM showed up on a list of cabinet appointees announced by Ruto yesterday. That some of our leaders have chosen to join a government indicted by the Kenyan people reflects badly on a party that has always advocated for and stood with the people. We have all along maintained support for the ongoing struggle to address the long-standing governance issues bedeviled in Kenya, and are appalled that we are now seen to be joining forces with the people responsible for these issues. To make it worse, the appointment do not reflect the diversity of the party we love, as there clearly was no regard to gender, age, or regional considerations. We wish to reiterate that the position of the party, as communicated by our Secretary General, who is Edwin Sifuna, earlier this week, that indeed the decision by our four comrades were personal and not as a result of any decision passed by the party. We call on the party leadership to move with speed and replace them. That is the end of the statement. I want to finish by saying,
it is the position where we are finding ourselves as a nation. Our country, Kenya, is sharply divided, not along the ethnic lines, regional lines, class line, or religion or culture. We are divided along our ideological thinking or our observation towards the political development within our country at the moment. If I follow history and I listen to some of the documentaries capturing the historical facts dating back in 1800s coming to 19-somethings, I listen to the history of British and the Middle East. And one of the documentaries I listened to clearly state that the British duplicity and double standards is what gave birth to the war which is going on between the Palestine and Israel British was in the business of scattering and dishing out promises to whoever was of importance to them during the First World War. They could go to the Arab nations and promise them independence. They would go to Israelites or the Jew and promise them a state. And up to today, there is war in Gaza and Palestine, courtesy of British double standard. It is where we are currently as a nation. When Raila Odinga and William Ruto sat down in their own wisdom, collectively said that now, since the Generation Z have decided to sideline them, and their interest would converge at that particular time, they decided to unite and to divide Kenyans. When the President of the Republic of Kenya marched to the front of the State House before the local and international media, he named the last 10 people of his cabinet, the nominees, CSS. Two situations emerged from that press briefing. Number one, there is a section of this country that plunged into anger and anguish. And there is another section that draws joy and happiness from the move of the president to go and invade opposition, particularly ODM party, stop leadership to his cabinet. There was celebration in Homa Bay town, and some residents of Cliffy. Today, Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza had led the residents of Kakamega to celebrate the nomination of Wycliffe Ambetha Oparanya as the CS for corporates. And in Malindi, some of the residents are lamenting about the position of Aisha Jumwa because her name has not appeared in the new list of the CS nominees. Moses Kuria's people the other day were demanding for his return to the cabinet. Yesterday I saw, before some few hours before President named Kipchumba Murkomen back to the cabinet, some of the residents, Moso youths from Elgeyo Marakwet, also called for a press briefing and demanded for return of Kipchumba Murkomen to the cabinet. In Budalangi today, the residents have demanded for return of Ababu Namwamba for the good work that he did during his tenure as the CS for Sports and Youth Affairs. So the residents of Meru were also demanding for the return of Kithure Kindiki, what the president did. Meanwhile, the Azimio leadership have treated us to drama. There is another quarter which is saying that indeed the government did the right thing to engage some of them. There are those who are saying that those who went to join the government did so at their own consciousness. Is it time to follow your conscience or your political warlord? Kenyans at crossroad. The Gen Zs are on their own. The majority, it is said, they will have their way, and the minority will have their say. But For this case, it is vice versa. I like saying that in a war, we have the loser and the winner. And those who lose will mourn their lost soldiers. They will bury them and re-strategize how to launch a revenge and retaliation. And those who win will go to celebrate the victory with their friends. Is it time for the Gen Zs to go back to re-strategize as they mourn their fallen fellows? As the political class go and celebrate with their friends while they are taking wine in State House or in their homes and their friends? When the Azimio leaders, led by Kalonzo Musyoka, Jeremiah Kioni, Eugene Wamalwa, Peter Munya, and any others, who are speaking at the Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka headquarters today, decided to treat us to drama. They were saying that Raila Odinga currently is busy looking for the AUC chairmanship, and his campaign will enter critical stage next month. And Jeremiah Kioni answered a certain question in a very cunning and clever way, that what the president has done to ODM is something that he started doing way back since the inception of Kenya Kwanza administration, because you know that in the last election, they did not win the majority of the seats in the National Assembly. And what they did was to engage in cat and monkey businesses, where he approached the UDM party, which was in Azimio, to join them, which denied the Azimio the majority in the National Assembly. Thereafter, he approached the Jubilee, and in net effect was that some of the Jubilee leaders decamped to the side of the government, and therefore people like Sabina Chege lost their position of minority whip, deputy minority whip in the National Assembly. And we also saw that today he approached ODM and managed to convince some of the ODM leaders. But the question is, how could Ruto just go for the top brass of the ODM leaders? And the ODM want to say that they did not bless that kind of relationship and the conspiracy. And this is what I said, that they are holy alliance. Raila Odinga has realized that going forward, and the only way to compensate his lieutenant is to negotiate a deal with the current administration, so that they also go and sit at the dinner table. But who will now lead the opposition? Jeremiah Kioni has now told us that Kalonzo Musyoka, who has stepped forward to lead the opposition, will carry on with the job or the work to be the opposition leader and to lead Azimio. What we do not know as Kenyans, whether the opposition as currently constituted, they have wherewithal to lead and to carry on with the good work of the Lord to protect the people of Kenya against the excessive power of the Kenya Kwanza and UDA administration. Looking at how President distributed the CSS slots, I can now say that in Nyanza, one went to Kisiaya, another one to Homa Bay, and one in Kisumu County, that is Rebecca Miano, Pio Wandaye, and John Bad. In Western Kenya, Bungoma, we have Minister for Health. Kakamega, we have the Minister for Cooperative, Wycliffe Oparanya. And in Vihiga, we have this docket for Foreign Affairs. Then we have the Prime Cabinet Secretary, still Moses Wycliffe Mudavadi, and the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula. So there are 5 critical positions given to Western Kenya. That is a political strategic move towards 2027. In Kisii we have 1. So in Nyanza we have like 4 slots there. In Central we have around 5 slots minus the deputy president. In Coastal region we have like 3 positions, 2 CSS and the Speaker of the Senate. We have other positions in the National Assembly such as majority, minority, in the Senate, in the National Assembly, the chief whips, name them. The leadership of the House was also distributed. Then we will go to, so it is a cake which is now being shared out. And it is said that the president is like that who have the arm and the knife. Depending on how you behave, you can have a piece, as it was recorded by Chinua Achebe in one of his fictions books. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time that Kenyans must go back to work. It is time that we must now chart a new path as a country. The leadership must now decide to give Kenya another option come 2027. This one, as they normally say, or as Junet used to say during campaign, hii shaenda. Hatuna budi kukubali matokeo na tuishi na shida zetu na tupambane kama Wakenya. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.